The game of the Shadow Man is one of the earliest forms of demonic summoning rituals known in the urban legend, dating back as far as 1200 AD. The ritual has gone under many other titles, most popular being the Boogeyman Ritual, Satan's Shadow, or simply the Dark Summoning. Many forms of the summoning ritual have come and passed. Most resulted in more failures than results, while others simply passed into obscurity. This version, however, is one of the remaining few that yield results. This tutorial will act as your personal guide on how to perform the game of the Shadow Man. Before enacting the ritual, it is best noted by past reports that the summoner, you, the reader, in this case, must first be informed on what the Shadow Man is as better understanding of what you are dealing with. The title Shadow Man is simply a description of what the being is, a tall, shadowy, humanoid figure. The true name of this creature is unknown, though through many conversations with the being, it tends to give a variety of names. It refers to itself as the most prominent names. It calls itself simply Shadow. The being is a tall, lanky figure, appearing masculine in nature. Its skin, a pale gray, is referred to as rotting while alive. In appearance, and has a thick ebony black hair. It always is described wearing a gray or black cloak that covers up everything but its head and hands. However, its hair always covers its eyes, as well as making it impossible to see if the figure even has eyes. Furthermore, the nose is described as abnormally sharp, and the mouth is a wide, sharp-toothed smile, with its lips described as charred skin. The hands of the figure are tipped with a strange black ashy substance from the foremost bend in the fingers to the tip, and is sharpened to a pointed end. Now that the being has been identified, the ritualistic process can begin. There are 3 steps to the process: the preparation, the execution, and the resolution. First, the preparation. Before the actual ritual can take place, certain forms of preparation can occur. First, acquire access to a decently sized room that, if closed off, will be completely dark. No light must be able to get into the room during the entirety of the ritual. Else will yield no results. Due to this, it is preferred to act during the darkest hours of the night for the best results. This is to give the shadow a place to access during the ritual. Second, grab a pencil and a piece of paper, not a mechanical pencil, a genuine number 2 wooden pencil. Take them both and draw out your best self-portrait. It seems that realism and details do not matter to the execution, as even a simple stick figure yield the same results. After you finish the picture, no matter how good or bad it is, scratch out the eyes with the same pencil. Make it as thick and dark as possible. Make sure the eyes are completely blotted out and cannot be seen. This will allow Shadow to have his form. As most claimers detail, it is very similar in appearance to themselves. Added with this and any piece of clothing that you have worn for at least a month or so, this is to add another layer of formation of shadow. And sadly, you will be losing this article of clothing in the process. If it is something that comes in pairs, use both. Third and finally, acquire 12 identical candles. This will be both your portal and defense against shadow. And further detail about how this will be used are explained later. The following must also be obtained and will be used during the execution process: a candle lighter, a sharp object, preferably a knife, a pair of gloves and socks to wear, black ink, printer or pen ink is fine, though a decent amount is needed. Now that you have obtained all necessary items, it is time to begin the ritual. Start by going into the selected room and measuring out the space wide enough to perform with. The best way to test it is to stick your arm out to your side and spin in a circle. If you hit nothing or nothing gets in the way, you have enough room. It is okay before you begin to have the light in the room to see what you are doing. Begin placing your candles in the circle space you have measured out, each spread out equally apart, and once they have been set, light them up. Now close off any light in the room. Make sure the entire section off to is just itself with no outside connection. Go to your circle of candles and using the ink put out the fire in every candle. For better reference, imagine the candles like a clock and put out the ones placed at the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11 spots. This is the beginning of the ritualistic process, and as said in the reports, is the portal for the shadow to enter through. If at any moment you wish to back out, simply light up one of the dead candles. However, whatever you do, do not have more candles out than on. These candles are your one safety net, and if you make a mistake, it will not end well. Continuing forward, make sure you have your gloves and socks both on as an added layer of protection. Even with the candle circle, it is very important you have a layer of clothing as well. Take the pre-selected article of clothing you wish to use, set it in the middle of the circle, taking heed not to distort or distort the circle and stain it with the remainder of your ink. Following that, take your sharp object and cut a diagonal line from the top to the bottom. Once you have done that, slip the drawing you had made from earlier into the clothing. If it is too small to fit, simply lay the drawing on top. Now burn it. Take your lighter and burn the drawing. You won't need your sharp object for any other reason afterwards. And as said before, your lighter can be used if you wish to back out during the ritual. However, if you do back out, never attempt the ritual again. Now the next stage is one that requires the most direct influence. While the picture is burning, stand back and begin to think of one particular thing: hate. Think of all the things you despise, the things you find horrid and disgusting, things you could harm or kill over. Focus on these thoughts, and all the while say the words shadow. It's not so much a chant, but you will need to repeat the words over and over again. Slowly the room around you will shift. It will turn from black and white to crimson and magenta. The air will seem ashy and stale, hard to breathe properly, and from the center of your circle a figure will begin to rise, and that is shadow. You will know when it has fully entered the room when your room suddenly goes quiet. Even if it was silent to begin with, it will oddly become even more so. Focus your attention now on shadow. This is where the final stage comes into play. You have brought it into your realm to make a deal with it. So as long as you are aware of everything you and it both say, You can converse as you please. There is no penalty in conversation. You can talk for however long you would like. But the ultimate deciding factor is the deal it provides. As you ask Shadow for anything you desire, fame, fortune, even murder, you can be as you can be as simple or as descriptive as possible. However, you must be aware that what is said for both sides of the bet. Make sure anything you bet for and have to pay is not major harm to you. Following your request, Shadow will raise its hand to you to shake in confirmation of its deal. So as long as you have your gloves, don't worry, and shake its hand. Before you even realize it, Shadow will have disappeared. The ritual will have been completed, and while it may not come immediately, your reward will eventually be provided. But there is one more thing that you must take care of: the gloves. Immediately strip them off and throw them into the circle. Set fire to them. Light all the candles on fire. Do anything you can to discard of your evidence. Shadow knows what you've done, but so long as you've destroyed the evidence, it cannot track you. From this point, you will have successfully won the game of the Shadow Man. You are free to live your life as you please without fear of consequence. What you've wished for will come true to you naturally. If it's money, you'll get a bonus. You'll get bonuses and raises at your jobs unexpectedly. If it was fame, word of you will get around very quickly and people will take a liking towards you overall. In being said, a few individuals may still be questioning something in the process. What would happen if you were to fail? If you retry the ritual after a previous attempt, failed a step in the execution, or did not get rid of the evidence, what would happen? The details of the failure are blurry, mainly because not many people who failed are alive to tell the tale. However, there have been a few selected reports that detail what might just happen. It is said that when someone fails, the consequences are not immediately noticeable. It may start off as a voice or a visual problem, but soon you will start to notice strange changes in your life, changes that will affect your mind. Most reports show that healthy people developing symptoms of schizophrenia and PTSD after failure. But the worst part is not during the waking hours. This was of one report, but it was said that dreams are something like a trip into hell. And if you can feel and hear it, you can feel and hear it all. No further reports are known of these who have failed. All people who have failed were claimed dead no longer than a week after attempting the ritual.